My name is McAllister. I'm the director of the Liberace of Baghdad. And this is
months before the Arab
I'd like to thank Diane and the Sundance Film Festival for inviting us here.
I'm apprehensive at the first American screening. My film shows the harsh realities of life in Iraq, and the audience here might see me as anti-American. Museum at the moment. Riveting stuff.
The government.
What a movie. Wow. What kind of response do you get at most of the screenings of The Reluctant Revolutionary?
Like a sort of stunned silence towards the end because of the big scene at the end, but and I'm happy that a lot of people empathise with him and feel a connection with him, because it's a place people don't know readily. So how do you take, my aim all the time is how you take someone to somewhere they don't know anything about and ask them to care about it.
I find it absolutely refreshing, the honesty of the imagery, and I think it's important that people see that kind of commitment for people that want to have a change, and that's something I think that is lacking in our country greatly.
What, the desire for change, or the...
No, I would say possibly so, for change, but the commitment that goes with it. And that's one of the things that really struck a chord in me, is all the people that were in the tent city there. What were the different class levels?
Or mixed.
Poor, middle class,
Yeah, or
wealthy.
yeah.
And it was so amazing how blended they all were. And the commitment. And in Yemen, they don't have any politicians that are fighting for their cause, are there?
Well, it's tribal, so you win the tribal leader, and then the people follow the tribal leader. So that's how it's done, really. That's how Saleh had mastered his control, because he paid out nicely to certain tribal leaders for their backing and support of him. If they're with him, their people are with him. That's how it kind of works.
That's traditionally the way it's been for many years.
Yeah, still kind
And
of.
still is?
Still kind of is. Yeah, you won't break that for a while. So still, even with the implementation of a kind of democracy, you're going to still work with tribal elders to talk to the people.
Mm-hmm. What brought you to Yemen on that particular trip?
Him. I mean, my films are all character-based, really. I mean, I have a fascination with a particular area, but when I'm looking to make a film, I'm looking for a character to somehow engage with, to explore something through. So I'm looking for someone that's capable of intimate, close examination and my level of questioning, and through them to try to understand the country. So that's why I'm looking actually for English speaking, because I don't speak Arabic. And
Oh, you do speak Arabic?
I don't.
I don't. Mm-hmm.
And if I did, it would be a problem, because I think it would take my audience a step further away from getting them there. So to keep it in English and to have him in English allows my audience closer connection to him. To be quite honest, even his occasional use of the word fucking helped, because it's a kind of common slang word that they use.
That's
feel
worldwide.
Well, it makes them feel quite comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, what's going on? The first line in the film, it's the fucking Taliban. The kind of guys I'm looking at connecting with go, wow, who's he? Do you know what I mean? So that's, you know, street credibility, something that they can bring to, the same with my Japan film. The guy had, in Japan they never say fucking. For some reason the guy I found said fucking all the time.
Now, what was that, one of your prior documentaries?
The film before this, yeah.
What was the name of that documentary?
Japan, A Story of Love and Hate.
Now, is that just of their recent tsunami situation, right? No.
No, it's about the demise of the economy, really, and it was about a guy who run a successful business. The economy crashed in the way that it crashed here. It crashed in 1990 in Japan, and he lost everything. And he was picked up by a girl who used to come to his bar, who's half his age, and she let him stay in her place, which is a tiny corner of a room with no windows, where they were both living. And she was working in 3 jobs to support him in his part-time job at the post office, where he was earning $5 an hour. So it was a story of poverty in the second richest nation on earth. And you felt it, you saw it.
No.
It was like work, work, work.
How did you come up with that idea?
I didn't. I came up with a completely different idea. Spent 3 years in the country trying to make a film, and eventually found him.
And that was it.
That was it.
Now, how did you meet this gentleman that was in Yemen?
2 people in Syria. I was trying to make the film in Syria. It kept falling through, and I couldn't get it commissioned. And they kept saying, "What are you looking for?" And I sort of described the kind of Arabic person I'm looking for, that is street cred, that's got 1 foot in our world, 1 foot in his world, that sort of can, translate. They were saying, "Well, I don't know anybody like that here in Syria, but I just stayed in this hotel in Sana'a in Yemen. There's this amazing guy, you've got to go and see him." And I'm like, yeah, but I've just been commissioned for here, not there, what can I do?
He was quite a character, or he is quite a character. He's still alive and well with his family. How long were you there filming this one particular documentary?
4.5 months.
4.5 months. Did you anticipate that it was going to reach that kind of?
No idea. Of course, towards the end, I could sense that the net was closing in and stuff was kicking off, and that's when it got scary. I could sense stuff was going to happen.
Now, is that the first time that you've found yourself in a situation like that, where you really you were pretty much sequestered there, where you were at the mercy of the elements then?
Well, in 2004, I went to Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein to make a film for the BBC, and I'd waited after 2003 thinking that 2004 was going to be easy. I was going to be more safe, and that was when it got the most dangerous, and I was marooned in a hotel. My subject was a pianist in the hotel, and around us was all this mayhem. That was pretty similar, where it was a spate of attacks where they were kidnapping foreigners and beheading them. They beheaded a few businessmen, a few Americans and a Brit.
What goes on in your head when you're in a situation like that? Obviously, I mean, from the view of the of your image on the screen, you look pretty calm, pretty cool.
I don't know. I mean, I think in a way there's a blissful ignorance about things. Some people would panic and some people would be overcautious. My instinct is more, I suppose, ignorant.
Now,
blissful ignorance.
I'm going to take a wild guess. I don't know, but Are you from Ireland?
No.
Originally? Well, whereabouts in England?
Yorkshire.
In Yorkshire. And the only thing I read about you is that, which was really intriguing, is that when you were 16 years old, to get away from the factories, you went ahead and you got your first camera.
Right.
Yeah. Would you be able to expound on that, where taking that step of faith in your life at such an early age, where that has led you all the way up to the reluctant revolutionary?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, in a way, it's just making a series of films, really. In other people's eyes, I guess it's, I mean, the guys that are still working in a factory would say you've made a great success of your life because you're no longer in a factory. But in another side of me, I'm becoming a bit more despondent about the whole thing in a way that... Of
your career as a filmmaker?
Film thing, I mean, I think everybody that puts such effort into making one of these films would like it ideally to have the impact of a Michael Moore film, which is big and brash and out there and you know, I'm lucky compared to many people that make films that are not commissioned. I'm commissioned by the BBC, so it gets shown on the BBC,
Right.
at least. That it gets to a Sundance, some films are here, but it doesn't do a theatrical run, and one would always, I suppose, in the ideal world, would like that to be bigger. So that I don't really get a great feeling. I mean, I don't get a great sort of, I feel I wished I could do more.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wished it could do more.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggle when I watch it and think to myself, how could I make it bigger? How could I make it do more?
Well, you know how it is with actors. I just read a book on James Earl Jones. He was an actor for 14 years in New York when he started out, and it wasn't until The Great White Hope that was handed to him that made him a big superstar. You know, just takes one movie, one documentary, the right one. You know, like with Michael Moore, I don't know if
does it take a particular sort of style or strategy, or
I don't think there was any strategy, or in pertaining to James Earl Jones, I don't think there was any strategy. It was something that he basically walked into. He worked very, very hard, and it was
I mean, I just think,
timely.
the Michael Moore thing, you've got a kind of characterization that the people can latch onto, so he uses himself to make it.
True.
I think the problem is with all of these films is if you focus, it's like I tried to make films in Africa. The BBC said to me, listen, it's difficult enough to get an audience for your films as it is. Don't make it more difficult by going to Africa. And it's in a way by putting case out there as the main thing that we connect to, it makes it more difficult somehow to get that big audience. It would be easier, possibly, if I put myself in there, and through me, so the audience can initially connect through me. Through me, we meet more of case. But for me, in doing that, you somehow sacrifice something of.
I think you do. The thing I found so refreshing, I've been in theater for the last 25 years, and you know everything is scripted, and that was the thing that I really enjoyed in watching your documentary, is the raw reality. I mean, it's happening right before your eyes, and there's nothing scripted. And to me, what a freedom! What a freedom to be able to have that kind of work. And you've been doing it for how long?
15 years. But how do you pull a bigger audience to that?
I think it would have to be the subject matter. It would have to be the subject matter.
Yeah. So we tried that. In Channel 4, they were trying to get me to do celebrities. They said Naomi Campbell. They offered me Naomi Campbell.
No.
I said, give me a break. How far is it going to go on Naomi Campbell? I said, the only thing I can anticipate in the Naomi Campbell film is the end scene, where she hits me, and then the film finishes.
Edward Morrow, the old radio personality. What is he really? I mean, he's known for a lot of reasons, but the one thing that people always talk about him is when he was when the Germans were bombing London, he was up on the roof broadcasting, telling everybody in the world what was going on right there at that moment.
Wow.
That was just fate.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty much a kind of a guy like you know, going right out there, right into the middle of a dangerous situation, and that's what I always hear is the greatest moment in that guy's career, and he did a lot in his career.
I watched a documentary coming over on the aeroplane about Woody Allen, the new film about Woody Allen. It's really quite interesting.
Which one?
I don't know who it's by, but it's a great film.
It's a film about Woody Allen.
It's a new feature documentary about Woody Allen.
Wow.
It starts with him as a stand-up. He's a stand-up comic. He's not a film director.
Right.
And it's his movement into movie making that's interesting, and how he you know, has forged himself. And Michael was saying the same thing to me earlier, how he worked his way into never ever having any...
He's unique.
In a way, I've got the same thing, you know, other people envy me because I don't get, I mean, I don't even write a thing on the paper.
Yeah.
And even when I change the story, not just change the story, but change the country.
You know, you are blessed.
But
Like you said.
the grass is always greener. But you know, it's a matter of how do you bring a bigger audience to it. That's what I struggle with because it's sort of like it does become a bit tedious.